Okay, so we're going to make some tulips, and we have the Holland, which is the smallest of the three of them, the Turkish, which is the medium, and the Parrot, which is the most dramatic and one of the most popular parrot tulips, or tulips, that we have. The Turkish and the Holland tulip actually are the same when you make them. They're the same procedure. So we're gonna demonstrate how to do them side by side, and then we're gonna reserve the parrot tulip later on after the both tulips are done. So I just have like a chartreuse green gum paste here that I'm just trying to condition. So in my measuring cup, I'd measure about 1/4 to the largest, so that amount of gum paste. I would say just a tad bit larger than a green pea. So make that into a ball, and then press one side to form that into a teardrop shape, like a long elongated teardrop shape. So after I'm done with it, I'll take a 26 gauge floral wire. I'll take my needle tool and form that into like a tight open hook. Like so. I'll brush that with a little bit of gum glue and wipe off the excess. And then I'll insert it on the narrow end of my teardrop. You don't have to go all the way, probably halfway through. There we go. Just close up the end by pinching it and rolling it until it closes into the wire. So after you're done with that, I'll go and take my angled tweezer and pinch 3 equal like notches right on top, and kind of like press it down so it's nice and long, and with the 3 notches. So you just let this dry for 24-48 hours on a foam pad, and you end up with something like this. And I'll take my white gum paste, just a tiny piece of white gum paste. I would say about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5th to the largest, 5th to the smallest. I'll take that and make something like a rice shape, and I'll take my 26 gauge wire, brush it with, you don't have to hook it this time because this is just really narrow. Make that into like a sausage shape, and then I'll brush that with a little bit of my gum glue, wipe off the excess. Here I have, this is a combination of purple, black, and petal dust and some cornmeal, and you just shake it and until it forms into like a black sand. And I'm going to dip my my pistil into that that mixture, and then just let it dry. You have to make at least 5 of this per flower. And so here I have the ones that I've dried earlier. And it can get messy a little bit, so just be careful. So I'll take this and my half-width floral tape that I'm going to stretch so it releases the adhesive. I'll take one by one and then just place it side by side with the center, the same height as the as your green center, and then I'll take that end of the floral wire and wrap it all the way to where the gum paste begins. There we go. And so the next one, so 1, 2, so just make sure that they're evenly spaced. Two. And some of it will come off. That's okay. Just after it's dry, it's gonna be fine. 1, 2. And the last one. One, 2. So just make sure that they're evenly spaced on your center, and then after everything is set, then I just take my floral tape and cover up the rest of the stem. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because later on you're going to add your petals and you're going to cover that up again. So just make sure that you space them evenly. So this will be the center of your tulip. So I'm going to start with some pink gum paste for my Holland tulip. And the Holland tulip, all the tulips actually has, as you saw earlier, it has 2-part veiner. So what we need to do is basically cut it first and then vein it. And that's true for any 2-part veiner. If you have a 2-part veiner, then you cut the gum paste first before you vein it. And as you can see, I am rolling my gum paste to where the bottom part of it is thicker than the rest. That way I have space later on to insert my floral wire. So I have here my cutter, and I take my 26 gauge floral wire, about 2.5 inches. Cut that off. And because it's long, I would still make a hook on the floral wire. That way it doesn't spin after it's dry, because there's a tendency of the gum paste to spin when it's dry if the petals are longer than usual. So I would take my my forefinger and my thumb and insert that right into the middle, about 1/4 of an inch thin. You don't need it anywhere longer than that. And as you can see, I tried to make sure that the wire is actually in between and it's not protruding in both sides. And after you've done that, you want it to pinch the end so it doesn't come off once the gum paste is dry. So I'll take my 2-part veiner, and the narrower end is the bottom. So I'll take that and press. And I'm using the heel of my hand to press it firmly. Take it out. Don't take it out from the wire end, because it will tear and it will the wire will come off. So take it from the gum paste side all the way out. And this will not, the common misconception is that if you have a 2-part veiner that it will dry the petals in shape, but it doesn't. I have a lot of students who are looking for a hydrangea veiner that has 2-part, and we used to have that, but we changed it because it tears the gum paste. So once you've done that, you can just thin out the edge. If you have that fuzzy, I don't know if you can see it, but the end is actually fuzzy, you can take the back of your nail and just run it through. Or when it dries off, it actually snaps pretty easily, so you can just clean that out. And I'm just gonna thin out the edges like so. This Holland tulip petals doesn't really have much of a movement to it, so I'm just gonna thin that out. And I'll take my, this is as you can see, it's an egg shaped flower former, and I'll take that and dry it in place. So for each flower you're going to make 6 of these. So here I have 6 of the petals already that I dried earlier. And assembly is so easy. You just take the center that we made earlier, and I'm going to take the petals and bend it at a 90-degree angle so it's nice and straight, and take that and put that at the very end of where my center is. I'll take my half-width floral wire. Again, I'm going to tuck it in and secure it with my forefinger, so my other hand is free to just wrap the petal around all the way to the very end of where the gum paste and the wire meets. And as you can see, there's no wire that's protruding there. You want it to be covered as much as you can. So I'm going to take 3 petals, and every time I take a petal I wrap it twice with my floral tape. That way I can let go of it and it will stay where it is. And another one. And as you can see, I actually bend the wire. Don't bend it from this side because you have a tendency of breaking that petal. So you take that. And arrange the petal to where it's nice and close. And take another one. Don't forget to stretch your floral tape, because that releases the adhesive of it. If you don't, then it will not. It should just stick to itself. floral tape should not stick to anything else but to itself. It shouldn't stick to your fingers or anything. One time I made a boo-boo and bought one like that, and it was just such a mess. So the second layer of the petal, as you can see, I'm putting it right in between the first petal that I did, so it's like alternating. And voila. So after I've tied all of the petals base, so you have to cover the rest, and how I do it is I pull my floral tape and put it on a 45-degree angle, so that when you twirl your flower, it actually covers the stem thinly instead of covering it. And there we go. And that is your finished flower, finished tulip. You can even make this as close as possible. You can make the petals a little bit closer and make it appear like it's closed. But I like to show the inside of it as well. So for the parrot tulip, we're going to start with some purple gum paste. Purple and tulips actually comes in a wide variety of colors as well. You can do pink, white, whichever you prefer. And so I'm just going to roll this just like how I did the Holland tulip. The procedure for this tulip is exactly just the same as the Holland, except that it has a different cutter and veiner. So I'm rolling my gum paste to where the bottom part is thicker than the rest, and I'm going to cut it with my cutter. You see, I normally depress it and then shake it a little bit, that way you get a really clean cut. I'll take a number 26, or no, actually this is a number 24 floral wire, because this is a long petal, so you need a floral wire that is thicker than a 26, so a 24 would be good. So I'm going to make it into, I will make a hook. This is a closed hook. I don't need it to be open, but this is a closed hook wire that I have, and I'm going to brush it with a little bit of my gum glue, wipe off the excess, and then I'll take my petal and insert that into the petal. Again, this is just about 1/4 of an inch in, and with your fingers in between the petal, in between the gum paste, you can actually kind of feel where it's going. And don't forget to pinch the bottom as well when you after you've inserted the wire. So I'm going to take this gum paste and put it right on my veiner and press. I'm using the heel of my hand, and I just do a rocking motion back and forth, so I make sure that the rest of my petal is veined. So there you have it. So again, don't take it out from where the wire is. Take it from the top where the gum paste is, because if you take this, it will rip off the gum paste and you will have to start all over again. So I'll just take that and put that right on my foam pad. And I'm gonna, this one has a little bit of movement. So when you're using your ball tool, I normally have it where I hold it like a pen and just depress, put pressure on the petal, and you see all those movements are created, and you want that movement, not so much though, just a little bit of flounces would be good. So after I'm done with that, I'll take my large egg former and put that in, and then I'll let it dry like this for about 24 to 48 hours. I'll make 6 of each of these per flower. So just let it dry. And once it's dried up like this, I would use a little bit of my Bordeaux petal dust, and you can see the veining that goes through it, so I will just follow that. I would dust a little bit on my on the edges of it, just to give it a little bit of a darker edge, like so. And then I would follow that veining as well with my dust. And I'll do the same on the back. And you can dust this as heavily as you wanted it to be, but at this time I'm just gonna try to accentuate those grooves that I have there. So just so you can see the detailing of the petal. And you can always shimmer this with a little bit of pearl dust as well. That way it's, even if you don't dust it heavily with the petal dust, I like to shimmer it with a little bit of pearl dust. That way it's nice and dewy looking. So I'll make 6 of these per flower. So I have here 6 of the petals that I've already dried up. And assembly is exactly just the same as the Holland tulip as well. So I have here the pre-made center that I have, and I'm going to put like 3 of these petals again, just like I did the Holland tulip. So I'm going to stretch my half width floral tape, and I like to use half width. It doesn't make my stem too fat or too stocky. And I would wrap it all the way to the end to where I couldn't see. As you can see, there's no wire that's protruding there. I'm going to go to the next one. So 1, 2, and sometimes, because like I said, this petal is too long, it's okay that it still moves, and it's actually not going to move until you are still not going to stay until you've covered all the rest of the petals, or the wire, the stem wire. So after I've put in the first 3 of my petals, the next one I will put in like right in between where where there's a space between the first 3 that I put in. So I'm just gonna wrap that up. I'm just going to wrap it all the way. I can get another fresh batch of my tape. And I'm using a ribbon shredder. It's made by Gem. I just love using that. Of course, if you don't have it, you can just cut the floral tape in half. This is my last petal. So every time I start with a new petal dust, I just basically tuck that in and hold it with my 4 fingers. That way my other hand is free to wrap it as tightly as I need it to be. So after you've wrapped all the base of your petal, and wrap it as much as you can hide the the stem wire. If not, you can actually just take all that and pull it, tug it in, so you can hide as much of the wire as possible. Okay, I guess I'm good. Am I good? You can even use your long nose plier. There you go. Okay. And then just hold it at a 45-degree angle and wrap up the rest of your stem, and just make sure that none of those wires are seen. Okay. So that's the finished. You can display this on a side so that you can see the side of the flower, or a more dramatic way of displaying this flower is like opened, like such. And that's your finished flower.